I don't know where to begin. I'm about to explode your freaking mind right now. Okay, I don't know where to start, guys. We have a lot to talk about. I'm going to save the best part for last. Your mind is going to be freaking blown, you guys. First of all, this story has so many weird things. Mandela effect, good and evil, truth and lies. This story is mind-boggling. So I'm going to attempt to tell it right and blow your mind properly. Check me out. Woo! My mind is blown. I just got off the phone with Jacob Israel. I'm sure he's going to pick up this topic and run with the ball tomorrow. He's got a little bit different thoughts than I do. I'm about to blow your freaking mind. Who ever heard of this before? When you Google Jesus's crown of thorns, when you look it up, there's very little information. I found an article from 1997 that talked about how the crown of thorns has only been shown 3 times in 100 years under special ceremonies. Why is this not the pillar of Christianity? Why is this crown of thorns not talked about by every Christian? Now, first of all, let me tell you something. As I grew up a child in a Christian household, let me tell you what I heard about. I heard about the Shroud of Turin. Is it real? Is it fake? Let me tell you what that story did for me. Hearing about the authenticity of the Shroud of Turin on Unsolved Mysteries and all these other shows, all that did for me was put doubt in my mind about Jesus Christ. Where were all the documentaries on this crown of thorns? First of all, I'm not all the way. This was kept super freaking secret. Now, I know that you can go back and you can read articles where it was shown once or twice in the past 100 years. I get it. But this was, why was this not a pillar of faith? Why did nobody know until yesterday that pieces of the crucifixion cross and the actual thorns, the actual thorn crown worn by Jesus, why did everybody not know? I have Patreons that study the Bible daily and walk with God. You know what I'm saying? Literally walk with God. Like their whole life is centered around praising Jesus and God and Scripture. I have people in my family. I called people tonight on Patreon Live and said, hey, what relics have you heard about around Jesus Christ? And they said, well, I'll tell you, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the cathedral fire. I never knew that the cross or the thorn of crowns survived all this time. Nobody knew, okay? We're going to talk about why maybe nobody knew here in a few minutes. But I'm about to blow your freaking mind right now. Let's get to the mind blowing, and then we'll talk. I'm not sure how to go. Now work with me here. This isn't put together yet. I'm throwing this out here to get your ideas. Let's go over to iPet Goat 2. Okay, everybody knows iPet Goat 2, all right? This is not even about the spire right now, okay? See the crown of thorns on his head? Now look. They meant to destroy that crown of thorns. And I would have been making a different video right now. If this crown of thorns had been destroyed in the fire like they wanted it to be, this would have came all the way true. Look. So first of all, and yes, I understand that this church right here is not the exact church that burnt down. This is symbolic of Christianity dying, right? Of this church falling. This spire, right? See it fall? See it tipping over? See it tipping over?
This taken from
now the crown's gone. You see the crown of thorns is gone? It was there a minute ago. It was supposed to be destroyed. It was supposed to be destroyed. Imagine if the real crown of thorns would have burnt up in that fire, I'd be making a different video right now. I'd be saying, I pet goat too. They predicted the church spire falling. They predicted the church collapsing. It was symbolic. They also predicted the crown burning up. He's got fire in his eyes. Jesus's crown of thorns burn up. It disappeared. That's what was supposed to happen. It was supposed to burn up in this fire by them evil people.
Ground.
Those evil people meant to make that crown of thorns disappear that belonged to Jesus. But guess what? It didn't happen. Chaplain, who rescued victims of horrific 2015 terrorist attack, heroically saves Jesus's crown of thorns. This dude runs in a burning inferno and gets the crown of thorns and saves it. Was this a miracle? Was this a miracle? The evil world conspired to bring down that church. They planned it. It had been planned out, and they conspired to make the crown of Jesus disappear. They meant to burn it up. But guess what? Miracles sometimes happen. And this priest, this chaplain, ran in and saved the crown of thorns that the elite had planned to burn up. Mind should be blown. Can you imagine the video I would have made if that crown had burned up? I'd be making a video right now saying, they predicted it. Look, I pet goat too. They showed you the crown got burned up. It disappeared. Fire in his eyes. The crown's gone. It got burned up. They tried to destroy the crown of thorns that Jesus wore on his head. And they didn't. What's that tell you? They're trying to kill God. God's not dead. You see what I'm saying? Thanks to this chaplain who saved it. Now let's get crazy. Now let's get crazy. Your mind should have been blown right now. I'm going to come to chat in a minute and see what you guys are thinking of this. I had to call Jacob Israel. Like, dude, there is something up with this crown of thorns. Why has nobody heard of it? Can you imagine if as a child my mom said, oh yeah, they still have the crown of Jesus, the crown that he was crucified in, the crown of thorns. It's in the Notre Dame cathedral. You should try to go see it before you die. That's proof that Jesus walked on this earth. Matter of fact, they got a piece of the crucifixion cross there too. They hid that from the mainstream. Man, barely anybody knew about that. Now, maybe if you're a super devout person who has money and you've been to the Notre Dame Cathedral, then of course you'd know. Maybe if you're a chaplain or a priest, you'd know about it. But to the average citizen, none of you guys knew about it. No, barely anybody knew that this crown of thorns existed. So it could even be a Mandela effect. I don't know. It could even be a Mandela effect. I don't know. But there is something more to this crown of thorns. We need to tear libraries apart, books apart, the internet apart. We need to get as much info on this as we can. My next question. Jacob Israel just mentioned to me how they pushed the crown of thorns into Jesus's head, like tried to push it into his skull. Does that mean that there's DNA and blood on it? Does that mean they probably have already traced his lineage and they know who? I don't know. This story gets deep. This takes twists and turns. Let's back up for a second. Let's go back to I Pet Goat 2, okay? They mentioned somebody's breakdown video I was watching of this mentioned how this is the New Age Jesus that they're trying to get people to worship, the false Jesus or the Antichrist or whoever this Jesus is. Does this represent a clone? The spiral, the spire collapses. The crown was supposed to disappear. It was supposed to be burnt. But luckily, this priest saved it. And then the new Jesus emerges, or the Antichrist emerges, or whoever this is meant to represent. Was this meant to say they were trying to clone him with the blood or the DNA from the crown of thorns? I don't know. But what I do know is I believe they tried to destroy this crown. They tried to make it disappear. And guess what? They failed. They didn't burn it up. They didn't burn it up. This story could... There is something to this, you guys. I'm telling you, we need to dig up everything we can about that. We need to all share it, because there is a freaking reason that crown of thorns has been suppressed all these years. There is a freaking reason. They either did it because if we knew it existed, then we would wonder, is his blood on it? It would also be a pillar of faith. That crown would be proof to millions and millions of Christians that it would take all the doubt out of their mind. Would I have lived a different life if I would have known that this crown existed? When I was young, when I went through times of not believing, of doubting, because of all the doubt in the world, and I went down the wrong path, and I was a criminal, and I made horrible mistakes, and a drug addict. What if I would have grown up hearing stories about this crown existing, and I should see it sometime? This probably would have solidified my belief in God much sooner. Much sooner. That crown was suppressed for a reason, and it's probably something more sinister than just keeping people from having a stronger rock of faith. I think that it could have something to do with his blood, or they're trying to find his lineage, or they're trying to clone him. But we need to go back through, and we need to start breaking all this down. We need to start breaking all this down. We need to get every shred of information we can find on this crown. Is it a Mandela effect? Is it new? Is it old? Why did they hide it? Is his blood on it? Was it a miracle that this priest saved it? Did they predict it burning up and evil lost? Because, listen, I would have been making another video. Right now tonight, I would have been ranting and raving. Look, I pet goat. They predicted the spire falling. They predicted the crown burning up. This would have been a completely different video. This might have been a miracle. Knowing that this crown exists, will this be a pillar of faith for people? I don't know, you guys. Let me see if I sound absolutely crazy, or if you guys are with me. I'm coming to chat. Sorry, I haven't been able to see it. What do you guys think? It looks like you guys are feeling what I'm talking about. I don't know. I love each and every one of you. Please have a great night. Please help me on this. I'm not going to stay live any longer. I've said all the thoughts that were running through my mind. I just repeated everything I said to Jacob Israel. Jacob Israel, I think he's going to move on this story tomorrow. There's a reason there's a reason nobody knew that this has been hidden from everybody. I even called my mother live on Patreon. My mother's a Christian who believes in Jesus. She had me watching all the Shroud of Turin documentaries when I was a kid. She said she had never heard of this until today when they said it was saved. There's a reason. The story was not supposed to go like this. The story was not supposed to be that some priest saved the crown of thorns. The headlines were supposed to read that the crown of thorns had been destroyed. And everybody was supposed to go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it existed. Oh, the crown of thorns was destroyed. And then somebody like me would have watched I Pet Goat and made the connection. Look, I Pet Goat predicted the crown of thorns burning up. That's the way the story was supposed to go. But it didn't, because this man ran in there and saved it. It goes to show miracles are happening right now. It's giving me chills. It's giving me chills. Evil is not going to win, you guys. They can burn down all the churches they want. They can take all the guns. They can lock us all up. But we win in the end. Hallelujah, right? Have a good night, everybody.